Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Devesh Pandit, and today I am going to talk to you about integrated management system and what is all about. So let's begin. So you must be familiar with some of these ISO standard that you might be using already, such as ISO 9001, or you might be practicing ISO 27001, or you might have implemented 22301, or if you are a service provider, you might be certified with 20,000. The purpose of ISO is to standardize, being equal or bringing commonality among the organization so that when an organization claims that they are ISO 9001 certified, that means they have implemented all of this requirement under these clauses in their standard. So the point here we are trying to make here, and ISO also moving towards combining the requirements for the standards so that when you open one standard and one management system, it maps to the other standards as well. So the point here is, and what we are trying to discuss today is why duplicate the efforts. If there are common requirements among the standards 9001, 27001, 22301, and 20,000. And if you are a service provider and if you are practicing business continuity, of course you are doing information security and providing quality. So why do we duplicate the efforts and why not reduce the cost? And if we do that, we may increase the return on investment. So let's go a little deeper. I'm trying to make a point here that if you combine standards ISO 9000, 27001, 22301 internally, meaning these three standards internally in your organization, if you align these requirements in your organization, I think I clicked, so let me go back here. So, and there are chances that you might be practicing ISO 9000, and if you also have ISO 27000 implemented, but you have not yet implemented 22301, which is business continuity, which is a requirement for 27001 as one of the clause. So you might have implemented one standard such as ISO 9001, or let's say you have just implemented ISO 27001, but you have not implemented business continuity. So you might have either or you might have implemented one of these, but you are providing services and you are not aware that there is a standard called ISO 20000 and which is also a service provider standard. So if you implement these three standards internally and if you implement this standard externally, proving that, hey, we are so good, we have done our due diligence and we have implemented quality, security, and business continuity for our internal organization, and we are so good, we are committed to quality, security, and business continuity. At the same time, we are committed as a service provider, and we are committed for service level agreement and so on. We are committed for quality, security, and availability under ISO 20000. So point in case is, since the management systems for each standard, they have the same requirement, and this can be intertwined. Okay, meaning you might have a silo for this, you might have a silo for that, you might have a silo for this, you might have a silo for that. The management might be working, in a counterproductive way by developing a policy for this, policy for that, policy and procedure for that, policy and procedure for that. Your commitment would be the quality security and availability would be the same, and it is interpreted that way, but is not reflected that way. So your requirement could be the same. You want the same quality and security during your installation, but you are not reflecting in your documentation. So why don't we do that? And if we do that, you might end up writing one policy and one procedure which might work for this standard, that standard, as well as with little modification. I'm not saying that the same policy might work for ISO 9001, 27001, and 22301 and 20000, but with little modification, adding a quality phrase and a security phrase and a business continuity phrase and a service provider phrase into your policy statement. Just by tweaking a little bit of a statement for that particular clause, you might be shortening your documentation. And when a time comes to update for the policy for the management review, you might spend less time in annual reviews, and you might spend less time in your internal audits. For your documentation requirement, you might spend less time in documentation review and rewriting your policies and updates of the policy. That's the point I'm trying to make. And your management commitment, you might be spending, let's say, 4 hours to review each standard. You might spend 2 hours at the beginning, and as you become better and better under continual improvement, you might spend less time with your technical staff for reviewing your documentation and your policy and your efforts. You might spend less time in your review, and you might spend more time in your enforcement of your policy. That's your return on investment. So let's get going. So these are your obligations, regardless whether a service provider is involved directly or indirectly providing services. We are obligated to provide quality information, security, and business continuity under QMS, ISMS, and BCMS, following standard ISO 9000, ISO 27001, ISO 22301. Similarly, as a value added service provider, under that management certification, we want to remain engaged and we want to take this obligation freely as our moral duty to provide a preventive, protective, preparatory, and with mitigation process for customer satisfaction under ISO 20000 SMS, which provides continuous improvement towards customer services. So with that said, let me get going and give you an example probably how that would work with a graphical depiction of if we combine our efforts, how would it look like and what customer delight would it bring. So first step towards that would be getting prepared for, let's say, not in a particular order, okay, but let's say QMS. You are preparing for QMS, or you are already certified under QMS, and you have a certification audit number 1. As a service provider, you have ISO 9000 under your belt. So that is a good thing, and you are providing quality. Now, some other department, IT department, is also working towards their certification, which is ISO 27000 as a service provider, and that is also a good thing. And knowingly or unknowingly, the third department, business continuity department, they might be working on their certification as a business continuity and disaster recovery, and they might be preparing for the third audit. Now, if you combine the three departments' efforts and look at their policy and procedure statements, and if you add one oversight committee or one simplifying process that, hey, how do we simplify our policy and procedure, which combines our efforts, meaning when you implement quality, you got to have security factor into it. You have to have a built-in business continuity into it. That way, your quality becomes secure. Your quality becomes business continuity aware. So that means when I'm writing a quality process, I have to have security in my mind. At the same time, I have a business continuity in my mind as well. So what happens by doing this, first step, when I'm doing this, I have quality as well as information security as well as business continuity. By doing this, what I'm trying to do, I'm bringing on board all my three teams together, which is continually thinking of quality, information security, as well as business continuity. And they are working together to achieve quality, security, and business continuity. So, as a result, what happens that as time goes by, I'm becoming mature, more and more mature in delivering quality, security, and business continuity, which becomes a nature of the organization. It becomes a culture of the organization that whenever I am changing something in information security, for example, I am thinking of quality that, hey, I made this change in my, uh, let's take an example of a firewall. Let's say I changed something in my firewall. Was that a quality change? Did I take care of the quality aspect? Did it go through the quality management process? At the same time, I asked the same question for the business continuity. Did I run my business continuity scenario? Do I have the same redundancy? Would it work during business continuity? Would it work at the time of test? Would it work during business disruption scenario? And would it definitely work during a actual business disaster or business disruption? So when I'm doing that, I am proactively taking care of quality, security, and business continuity at the same time. And I don't have to worry about three different reviews when it comes for certification audit. I already have done my part as a manager and management and internal auditor that yes, I've taken care of quality, I have taken care of information security, and I have taken care of business continuity. So this would be your step one. So this would be audited as step one, and this would be your internal audit. So to speak, this would be your first certification, management certification. So this is what you achieve first as your certification audit. So this would be your first certification audit you want to get. And then once you get that, you want to focus on your service delivery. So once you do that, you want to focus on your service delivery part. So service delivery would be the second part outwardly. Okay, so this is your outbound service. What you show, what you give, what you provide to your customer. So you tell your customer that, look, Mr. Customer, we are ISO 9000 certified, we are ISO 27001 certified, and we are 22301 certified. At the same time, we are also ISO 20000 certified externally. So we are committed to our service level agreement. We are committed to quality. We are committed to security. We are committed to business continuity. We are committed to our service level agreements. We have a dedicated service level manager who is committed to service level contracts and all that. So this will be audited as a external standard, external management system. So that would be your step number 2. That would be your second internal audit and second certification audit, as well as your, so to speak, your second management review and all that. So in a nutshell, these are two separate steps if you want to combine the implementation. In first step, like I said, you want to implement QMS, ISMS, BCMS. Then you want to run. Then you want to go through your first internal audit, and then you want to go through your first management review, and then you want to go through your certification audit, and then you want to go through the internal audit for SMS, and you want to go through the management review of the external services, and then you want to invite the auditor for certification audit for SMS, and that would be your step number 2. And once you combine all these things, what you are proving to your customer that, hey, we are an excellent service delivery organization, and your customer would be happy to hear that. So you will see a customer delight as a result. So let's take an example. So proclaiming excellency within indicates that you are a superb service organization with all your service products or services that confirms with QMS, ISO 9000, meaning all your products and services that you provide are fortified with a quality process. Okay, so you follow quality principles that goes into your implementation of whatever you do 9 to 5 in your organization. It could be anything, and we'll take an example. All your practices are securely conforms to ISMS, ISO 27001, meaning all you do 9 to 5, all your business activities that you have identified, all your business functions divided into your business processes are mapped end to end. Okay, that will be mapped to at the laptop to server to LAN, WAN, everything, and then you are mapping it to ISMS and QMS processes, and then you are practicing QMS embedded to ISMS, and this is how you are telling your customer that we are not only secure, but we are also following quality and security principles. At the same time, all your practices will work because you have implemented business continuity, which conforms to business continuity management system, conforming to ISO 22301. And my apologies, I forgot to insert ISO here. So what it means here that you are proving a superb supplier internally as an organization, that you have embedded quality, security, and business continuity, which indicates that organization is well educated on quality, security, and availability, which is continuously delivering quality, security, and business continuity, and their organization is well versed on these subjects. So let's take a concrete example now. So the example I'm just taking of a firewall installation. It's a rudimentary, very basic example, but I wanted to instill a concept that how it would imply to quality and business continuity. So that is why I have taken this basic example. And let's say your technical staff is installing firewall, and we all know that anything we do requires quality aspect. Without that, it won't work. And we make sure that quality is part of our work. But what is missing here, that we are not doing proper documentation, etc. So now, if we bring ISO 9000 and if we follow the ISO 9000 uh, requirements, and if we follow that standard, and if we write uh, very basic firewall installation documentation based on ISO 9000, that would qualify for ISO 9000 certification. So qualification for documentation goes through ISO 9000 QMS review, as well as the quality physical installation would also go through that review, and quality of rule sets, that also will go through ISO 9000, and quality of audit trails and log reviews also would go through quality review. So whatever the ISO 9000 standard that you have, your management has implemented, for example, your documentation says that any configuration has to be done in presence of two people. Dual presence is required. So that means that audit trail and log review, when a manager is reviewing, has to make sure under quality review that that person cannot just do that installation by himself. He needs to have two-person dual, two people must be present to do that installation. At the same time, physical installation, if there is a requirement that it has to be, for example, I'm just making it up, it has to be in its own rack. All the cabling has to be secured, has to be in a conduit. The rack or the cabinet has to be locked, has to have two locks, etc. So now that is under also quality of the audit trails and log reviews. So then we check the physical installation under ISO 9000, that hey, is it properly installed? So the quality review requires that I have to have a rack or a cabinet. I have to have a secure cabinet. It has to be properly secured with two locks. The cabling has to be properly secured in a conduit. So this is all under ISO 9000. That's the point I'm trying to make. Same thing if you now I'm following ISO 27000. So security, does the firewall do what it's supposed to do? And the question I'm asking is, how do you know? That means I have to do the vulnerabilities testing and penetration testing, and then I have to find out what is the vulnerability here, what ports are not patched, what services are not disabled, what is the security requirement, and based on that security requirement, once again, I'm going to go back under ISO 9000 and say ISO 27000 requires this, and then we are verifying those reviews under ISO 9000. So it looks a little complicated, but it is not. What we are trying to do, we are trying to follow the principles of ISO 9000, and we are implementing quality into security. We are embedding quality into security. So that's the point I'm trying to make. And business continuity, we ask simple question when we install this firewall. Simple firewall question: does this firewall have a redundancy? Do you have a second firewall? Does it have UPS? Does it have physical redundancy, or is it a rule-based redundancy? Does it have a proper rule set that we were talking here, quality of rule set? If one rule fails, does the other rule take it over? And that also goes under the quality review, security review, and business continuity review. So this is what what I'm talking about is having a quality, security, and business continuity intertwining with each other, and we want to make sure that when we do anything between 9 to 5 within any process that we do, we have quality, security, and business continuity. By doing that, which indicates that you are a superb supplier, okay, and all your service delivery conforms to SMS ISO 20000. Your organization understands the service delivery standard. Your organization has appointed a dedicated service delivery manager for continual improvement. That way, your organization is customer focused, well trained on service delivery, and the person is committed to quality, security, and availability. And like I said, that person understands all of this and able to make sure that when your customer is asking question about the quality, security, and service delivery, is able to answer the question and provides a superb delivery, answer the proper question in a timely manner, and delivers the product the way it is supposed to be delivered. So that is the point. So same example, firewall installation. We are proclaiming guaranteed service level agreement and improved security because of the quality, guaranteed quality of service delivery by management, backed by logs and audit trails. If somebody challenges, let's say your customer says, hey, we were not provided this service or this quality was not good, then we can always we can back it by logs and audit trails. We can pull the log and audit trail and say, look, two people reviewed it, and we have this audit trail, and we have a quality embedded in our process, so they cannot deny the fact. The point here is this situation will not arise because you already have implemented quality, security, and business continuity in your process. This is a very remote chance that your customer would come back and come and argue with you because you already have guaranteed the service level agreement, and this will not arise. But if it happens, then you have your way of combating that situation. At the same time, security, measurement and testing data, proving a better uptime and better security. So now with the measurement and testing, everywhere you go, because of the quality, you are measuring and you are testing and measurement. How do you know? You're asking this question through internal audit. You're logging the data, you're measuring, you are proving your performance. So because of that, your security cannot be challenged. You cannot have a 100% foolproof security that is given, but we are talking about guaranteed service level agreement, and then if you have agreed to provide 99.99 uptime and a better security. So this is how that can be done. At the same time, in a business continuity, if you have a tested business continuity plan, which was field tested and exercised, instilling delivery confidence. So when you do your business continuity testing, and if you have truly tested your exercise plan, and I'm not talking about tabletop exercise, I'm talking about field tested, meaning you have to test your, and let me take an example of firewall again. You do have to bring down your firewall and field test what will happen, actually what will happen, so that you know your business continuity plan really works, and that will give you the confidence, and you can improve your business continuity plan. You can improve your security. You can improve your incident management, call trees and escalation points and escalation plan. And at the same time, you guarantee that whether the quality was maintained at the time of test, at the time of disaster, at the time of installation, etc. So that is the firewall installation example for the external service as an external service provider. So the question here is why to integrate? Why you want to do that? So when you do all this exercise, when you combine your efforts, what you are doing basically, you are harmonizing and optimizing the business practices. You are eliminating the conflicts between two departments. And like I began my webinar in the beginning, and I said that sometimes we work counterproductively, and we reduce our duplicating efforts, because when I'm writing my quality policy, I want to make sure that I have security, and I want business continuity. Without that, I cannot produce a quality product, or I cannot produce a quality service. So in order to have a quality product and quality service, I have to have security and business continuity. Similarly, when I have to have a secure service or secure product, I cannot shy away from quality and business continuity. Same thing for business continuity. When my client is asking for business continuity, I should be able to provide business continuity in a secure and tested environment with quality, built-in quality. So I cannot stress enough that all these three factors are required. Quality, security, and business continuity are required factors, and you facilitate this through the training. Okay, you provide training, and it is the matter of bringing them together and tweaking your policy, tweaking your procedure, tweaking your checklist, and training them that, hey, just sit down and what is your requirement? Hey, Mr. Quality Manager, what are your requirements? What do you need to deliver your product? Hey, Mr. Security Manager, what do you need to deliver a secure product or secure service? And how a quality department can help you. At the same time, business continuity manager, what would you need from quality and information security manager? So if you bring them together, that would create a formalize, the informal way of doing things, which will formalize the informal systems, create consistency, and it reduces risk and increases profitability. And why? Because sometimes we point fingers at each other and say, hey, quality didn't tell me that there was a security risk, or I didn't know that we had to have a business continuity plan or incident management plan for this, or I didn't know that there was a gap between escalation point, and that there was a 4-hour gap, and I did not know the recovery time objective, and so that because of that we were not able to provide quality, and because of that we lack security. So we can reduce that kind of risk, and in turn it reduces cost, increases the return on investment, and as a result your focus will be on your business goals, which improves communication within your organization, within with your stakeholders, your management, as well as your customers, and your focus will be on customer delight. So, point in case is you should be able to talk to your management and be able to integrate the management system. So we are your trusted partners. We have been doing this for many, many years. We cannot stress enough on quality, security, and availability. ISO is moving towards to common structure, and it is the future. So let's get going, and let's do integrated management system. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.